point to whatever you were taking. Well, I learned I could get more mileage on the. See, there was 30 feet of film on that thing.
Yeah.
If I let my finger drag a bit, it'd go a little slower, and I get more hold. You know, as a result. But at the time, the first time, I'm not going to spend all my 30 feet just scanning the sky. I'm going to get the sky real fast. Well, on that, I went up to Ecker Hill, the ski beat. Watched the skiers come off, you know. Now, instead of watching the in run, I just waited until they got to the jump, and then down and land, you know.
You know, I remember going with you and Grandpa on that up and watching the ski jumpers up.
Oh, did you?
Wasn't it up around
that
Solitude?
Was that was up over the top of Parley Summit.
Okay.
Going on down, it was old Rasmussen's ranch on the right. That's all built in now. That's all. There's a country home there, but
Okay, now Ecker Hill.
Ecker, yeah. That's where old Alf Engen made it famous.
Which canyon is that?
That was going up Parley's, up over Parley Summit.
Oh, it is? And as you come down off of Parley's.
Down,
it's where Gargosa and all that is now.
That's all filled in, you know, of course.
Have you seen that they got a tubing hill there now?
Oh, yeah, that Gorgoza.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's about the area, isn't it?
It's in that vicinity, but the Gorgoza is a different spot where.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got houses built all up where Gorgoza. They've opened that up again.
Yes, they have.
That lied dormant like it was going back to Mother Earth.
It did for a long time, yeah, but it's going
but
full
got
tilt
going
now.
Gangbusters now.
Yeah, we were up there just what was it, Sunday, I guess.
I see.
And saw it.
Yeah. Well, of course, Ecker Hill, that held forth, for many years. Washington's birthday, the 22nd, was the annual jump they would hold there.
Yeah.
And they had the A, the B, and the C jump. The A jump, that was the big one. That was where they go up. And the hill, if you jumped 300 feet, you'd be landing on your feet, shattering your ankles. So you had to jump as far as you could while you still had a downward slope.
Yes. Did they have anybody that got close to hitting where it leveled back out?
What? Well, Engen, he made the longest jumps on there.
Did he?
Torger Tokel came here. He made some long jumps on it. But he held the United States record for many years. It started out like 247 feet and 250 some odd and 260. It got up. They never did go over 300 feet on that hill, that I recall. But they got.
Well, that was probably lucky.
About 290.
300 was as far as they could go without hitting the flat, wasn't it?
That's what I say. That was the limit on that hill there. They used to limit how high they could go up on the hill for the in-run. So the hill behind the...
Yes.
They'd come down that hill, then to the jump-off, it came on out, and it aimed up just a little bit. It wasn't flat going off.
Yeah.
It was aiming just up a little bit. Then the jump-off was 13 feet from there down to the straight, like come down the in-run and up. Then 13 feet here. Then it was 90 feet straight level before it even sloped down.
Yeah.
90 feet straight on out before the hill started down. If you didn't clear that 90 feet, you're landing, well, of course, you're only dropping 13 feet down to there. But that was the jumping hill in this area for many years. Now, the first ski jumpers I ever did see was up at the U on the hill. And so that back in the early 20s. After we moved here, we lived on 10th East where Uncle Charlie and Aunt Ruth lived, you know.
Uh-huh.
And the university, I think, sponsored a meet up there. Those guys just wearing old caps, you know, caps and rubber bands around their old work pat legs, you know, no fancy ski clothes or anything.
They just had the bear claw skis on too, didn't they?
Yeah, they old wooden hickory skis. You know,
just kind of just clamped their foot into it. In fact, as I remember, they almost used their regular work shoes.
Yeah, they were. It was just, it's revolutionizing. But back then, that was in they were doing jumping and so on in North area. Yeah, that is a neat area there. boy, you know, when we were there last, they were rappelling off the old Hanging Rock there.
I know. Lane would really like to go down and do some of that.
Yeah.
He thinks that'd be a kick. When we went down there, when was it? It was not too long ago.
No, it was.
But I mean, this was just me and the family. We went back
you
down
were with
again.
us when we went down there.
Yeah.
Dan.
And this has been since that we went there again.
Yeah.
And
now,
we
see, there's you never did find the natural bridge up there, did you?
no. Is that at the end of Box Canyon?
No. Box Canyon is only halfway up the canyon.
Yeah, I know it is.
See, at Box Canyon, you're on your way up to Maple Canyon, up to the
Right.
to the, campground there.
Up at the top there.
And then Box Canyon, you're going up. That's on the right. You park there. And then when you come on out, it's still another couple of miles from there on up to Maple Canyon Resort itself. And
Well, weren't we right at the very top where we camped?
That's as far as you drive your car.
Oh, and then you walk for the rest of the way.
But you've already left Box Canyon.
Oh, way
down
back
the road.
behind you.
Yeah, and it's up there that there's the natural footprint in the rock. Did you ever find that one?
There was one hike that we went on where we kind of...
There's 3 trails. As you leave, you go down across canal. One, if it hugs the Hanging Rock, it kind of goes on up and ends into nothing.
Yeah.
Then the one in the middle is the one that goes way on up. Then there's one on the right that goes on up. On the right, it goes up around. There's kind of a cave up around to the right side, and so on. But the middle one is the one that goes up past Elephant Rock and the Squealing Pig and the natural bridge that's on the left. It's quite a little way up there.
We went up quite a ways up that middle one.
Yeah. Well, now you have to know where that bridge is, or you miss it.
Oh, well, maybe that was it.
It's way up on the left side, and if you don't look up, it'll blend into the background. But you see where it is. Then you hike up. It's a pretty steep hike going up, and you can crawl right underneath the thing. And it's made of all this cobble rock formation. It's like the red rock, you know. And it's like this. Then the top comes like that. And it's just right in there. And you get in there. It's almost like a little amphitheater in there. You're looking back down out of it.
Well, that's a beautiful area there. We saw, what was it? They called the Devil's Footprint in the rock there.
Well, yeah,
that was right at the very bottom, right where all the paths
that's
start.
The footprint we're talking about. It's like a shoe print. They used to haul lumber out of there. Mother said when I was a kid, they'd get wood out of up there and had horses up there from time to time.
Yeah.
And it looks like somebody took a hammer
went and chiseled it.
Yeah. It's a deep heel.
Yeah.
Cinch. Now, Ripley had it in the paper. Believe it or not, there's a natural footprint in Maple Canyon, Utah, and it shows like a bare foot, 5 toes and so on. No.
Not at all.
It's kind of a small sole of a shoe and a deep heel, that's all.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crude...
we found the thing.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting, but it wasn't even that good a footprint, you know.
No, it was kind of just like a kid might have chiseled it out.
Yeah.
But,
it could even be a natural formation, you know.
It was a solid rock.
Yeah.
It was a solid rock. I don't think that's a natural form. Well, it could.
Yeah.
It could be, you know. The way something might have hit it or whatever. But it is, Mother said they used to keep the teams tethered under the Hanging Rock. Well, anytime it rains on, that Hanging Rock extended about 30, 40 feet over, and it could rain, but you'd be sheltered, right?
It was amazing how far that came over. In fact, I think it was raining just a little bit the one time we were there, and we just kind of used it a little bit, you know, for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was, heck, you know, when she was a kid, that was interesting hunt. They like to go up and see.
Well, you guys spent a lot of times up there.
Oh, we've been up there.
When you were kids.
We had like 3 family reunions up there.
Yeah.
We had family reunion down in Provo. We had family reunion in Jordan Park. Family reunion Liberty Park. Had family reunion up at Bulger. That's on east of Fairview, going up over down into Huntington on the...
Well, when we were up there, it was almost a little family reunion.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
we had quite a group that went there with us.
That was, yeah. Well, see, there for a number of years, the Blackham side of the family, the family was Blackhams, and all our relatives, you know, over Price, and Mount Pleasant, Moroni, all around Salt Lake City. Hey, we went down there. We'd have a turnout of over 100 usually every time we go.
Yeah.
The last one was we'd been to Maple Canyon and come back, and Claude Morley was driving a pickup truck and he rolled it, and they killed little Janie Morley. That was Austin Lena's girl.
Oh, that's too bad.
And that put the kibosh. We didn't have any more after that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And how old were you at that time?
I was in my late teens, I guess.
Okay.
Like I say, we had one in Provo Park, and let's see where else. Of course, Maple Canyon was almost our favorite of all of them. We had one over at Price.
Yeah.
We met there.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
One thing I've never heard much about is your first marriage. I don't know anything at all about your wife or...
Yeah, Afton Larson. That was Ted's sister. She was older than Ted. That was her daughter.
Uh-huh.
That was Afton Helen Larson. And I met her when I was riding motorcycles and so on. But she was a teenage kid living with grandmother Gold.
I see.
Her dad had been got accidentally shot. They were out in the yard playing. They had a .22 rifle. And some way, as he come around the corner, I think Rolly, they were shooting, hit his dad. It was just a pure fluke. Just
that's kind of sad, isn't it?
Oh, it was sad. And now that was now I don't know the mother's name was Annie or Anna. I'm not sure. I think it was Annie. Annie Larson. Well, she was Annie Gold.
Uh-huh.
And she married this Irvin Larson, and they had Thelma, Afton, and Roland. Well, I met, of course, we had, did you know Nephi Berg?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
He lived on the other side of the river, didn't he? If I'm remembering correctly, he built planes over there.
No, that's not Nephi Berg. Nephi Berg was Berg Electric. You're thinking of Thalman.
Harry
Thalman
Thalman. That's who
planes.
I'm thinking of.
No, Nephi, he lived in Hawthorne Ward with us. He was a friend of
the name's real familiar. I know.
Well, he wanted to go with your ma all the time.
Is that right?
Wanted to go with him because he had hair in his nose.
Oh, okay. That turned her right off.
Well, he was a personality that didn't quite. He was a sharp guy.
Yeah.
He had a place on Richard Street. There, let's see, between 7th and 8th South. The home was there. He and Gert, he went on a mission up Saskatchewan, Canada.
Yeah.
And some way he met Gertrude, and I don't know what her family name was, but married her. She was a nice little gal. Well, they were living way out south somewhere in the valley at the time. Nephi took a correspondence course in electrical engineering and so on.
Okay, I met him because we went up to his shop one time.
Yeah, he
had some motor rewound.
That's him.
That's
the guy.
Okay. I remember now.
Well, anyway, Father had a piano. Now he had moved from 143 and 145 Southwest Temple to 209 Southwest Temple. See, 143 and 145 now, that's taken over by, it's across from the Salt Palace, you know. That's a park in there now. Utah Power Light owned he was my dad's landlord. Father bought the business from a guy from Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio is the Buckeye state. This business was called the Buckeye Furniture. And the logo on the window was this Buckeye, one of these horse chestnuts, you know.
Okay.
That's a Buckeye, you know. Well, that was 143. Now, that was full of furniture at the time that this man Warden had bought, but Father bought the place from him. See, Father had been working out when we moved from Ephraim to here. Father had a job assembling Fords out at Magna. Ford Motor Company had the little old building is still out there, out in Magna right now.
Where they assembled Fords, huh?
Yeah. And they shipped them here by train and so on, in the cartons and so on, the frames and so on. They'd assemble them right here in Magna, and they also had a repair shop there. They'd repair the thing good night. He could take a Ford engine and do anything with it. You know?
Well, I think we got away from your wife.
Well, I'm leading back to
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This the episode of Annie, of course, was let's see how Gertrude and Nephi Berg were living out in the south part of the valley. They had an old cow out there, a Jersey Guernsey cow.
Okay.
They came in the store one day and said, Nephi said, Gert would like that piano you got. Would you take a trade? What you got, Father? Sure. Would you take a cow? Sure, I'll take a cow. Anyway, they cooked up a trade. Father gave them the piano. He got the cow and some other things. I don't recall what it all was. But anyway, Gert said, I'm glad to get rid of that. Oh, it just shits all over everything out here. Did not like. Anyway. But Father said, I'll make the trade for the cow, but I'm going to find out if I've got a spot to keep it. Well, that's when Vera and Ted had moved into the old gold home where it is right now.
Okay.
So they were, when they got married, they lived in apartments there they lived in the old Warren apartments. They lived in about 3 different apartments before they moved down into the old gold residence.
I see.
Well, with the ground down there and all covered with good eating material for the cow, Father approached Ted and said, there was an old stable in the back, old stable building that they'd had cows there before, but not for years, you know. So Ted said, sure, you can stake it out there. So we did. We built a fence around, you know, kind of a corral around this stable, so that at night you put the cow in there and she'd be there. Then during the day we'd go down and stake her out where she could forage around in the field. That was before they straightened the Jordan River. See,
now, is that the only cow that Uncle Ted ever had down there?
That's the only cow that he ever had down there since your mother married him.
Because I remember the cow that they had there that Harry Thalman kept it over at his place and would bring the milk over all the time. Wasn't it Harry, or was it somebody else?
Now, I don't know whether Ted, Ted and Vera never had a cow all while I was there. But now, before they were married,
Craig told me that this cow belonged to them, but Uncle Ted had let Harry or somebody he was taking care of it, and
Yeah.
so they got the majority of the milk.
That was before he was ever married to your mom.
This is when I was a kid, because I remember him bringing these great big buckets of milk over.
Maybe he did buy a cow afterwards.
And Craig told me that it was their cow.
Yeah,
You know.
No, I think you're right on that.
So this was a different cow.
Yeah,
then.
a different cow.
Okay.
Because we
Well, then I sidetracked you. Never mind. Back to the original story.
So anyway, we fixed up this stable, built a corral fence around the thing, and then, of course, I was riding a motorcycle at the time. We'd have to go down and take care of her morning and night, you know. And in the winter, we would buy feed, bales of hay at Maxfield's feed there on 3rd South and West Temple.
Uh-huh.
And, no, 3rd South and 1st West is what it was, where Maxfield was, on the northeast quarter. And we would, the hay was baled up there, and we'd stack 5, 6, 7 bales on the back of the old